My past experience volunteering with the Lake County Republican Party is they basically waste your time. Okay? Now, this is not in the last 4 years. It has nothing to do with either of you two gentlemen. But nonetheless, I doubt if it's been completely corrected. I remember going there in 2000, going to volunteer basically in the Kirk gas race, and being told, you live in the 8th, you make phone calls for Phil Crane. So they had me call the hard R's. You know, people vote in every election, every time. In a race, we're going to win 3-1. So I sat there for 2 hours and thought to myself, I might as well go home and count spots on the wall and not getting anything done here. I'd like to know what is either one of your plans to do to get better use of our volunteers.
Okay, I'll take that. One of the internet tools that I'm very familiar with, because I've implemented it in 2 organizations now, is a tool called CapWiz. And what CapWiz does is it provides a means for an organization to quickly provide an action alert to its members, and the tools so that those members can communicate either through direct communication with their elected officials, either at the state level or at the federal level. So their congressman or their senator or their House representative in the state, in the General Assembly, or their state senator. Or they can write letters to the editor very effectively and easily. These tools are very powerful tools, and they've provided an ability to literally swamp an elected official's fax lines, phone lines, email inboxes with lobbying information coming from the grassroots.
Now, I wasn't talking about lobbying. I'm talking about volunteers. You know, people come in, they want to help pass out literature, make phone calls, stuff envelopes, do something for the campaign. This is not. I'm not referring to how we can get them hooked up to write letters. I walk into the thing, Don, you're there. I want to help out. I got 3 hours. What do you want me to do? What's your plan to give me an effective use?
The key to that is to have the kind of tools available, at the campaign to organize that effort. And right now our county office has very limited tools, and it's not. What I can say about that is we have had a dearth of coverage. We're sufficiently dysfunctional at times that our office is often closed. So if there is street
so you're going to open the office at least so I can come in the evening.
Right.
Dan, what would you do?
Well, the first thing you do, we're always looking for volunteers. And when you talk about menial tasks, I've always tried to automate those and get rid of them, because the worst thing I could see is somebody coming in to volunteer and you say, can you go stuff these 4,000 envelopes? I think you have them do that, they'll stay the one time, you'll never see them again. So when we do mailings, it's my pet peeve is let the mail house sort them. They have machines that do that stuff a lot faster than us. So I try to use volunteers as efficiently and effectively as possible. First thing I do is find out what do you want to do. We have some people that like talking on the phone, believe it or not. They like calling people. I don't, but some people do. Some people like walking. Some people like putting up signs. And you know what? We have a whole coordinated effort to do signs. Some people like to write letters to the editor or write campaign things for candidates. Some like to set up websites. The first thing I do is try to find out what's their strength. What do they want to do? What are they willing to do? And try to match them up. Whether it's at the party level, probably I try to focus them with candidates. When we get into the general election, we try to team people up with candidates and see where their needs are.
What I'm trying to get at is prioritization of candidates, prioritization of precincts. Do we have any of that going on right now in our organization? Where if I walk in there and I say I want to make a phone calls and you say, okay, this is the 35th precinct we got targeted, we've done the other 34, let's get this person calling in the 35th. Or you live over in Wakanda, we got 2 precincts that badly need to be worked, that would really be beneficial to us. Maybe they're both in a county board race, the others aren't. We're going to set you out one of those things to give us a little bit of boost to that local candidate while you're helping our U.S. Senate candidate. Do we have anything like that going on? Is there anything you think we should have going on like that? That's what I'd like to know.
Well, one of the things that I've done is I use computer tools a lot. And one of the tools I use is just Excel spreadsheets to analyze what happens in an election, or what happened in an election, where we had strengths, where we had weaknesses. And I've used that in my township organization. I put together very simple metrics, self-evaluation forms for precinct committeemen to fill out, so that we get a handle from them how many voter contacts they made in a month, and what kinds of contacts they made, just so we can begin to understand what level we're operating at, because otherwise we're flying blind. Now, the spreadsheet tools that I use can readily prioritize the precincts within the area that you're looking, to determine which ones are apt to be more productive than others, or which ones need help. Where you can actually look at the voting strength within a particular precinct and determine whether it seems in line or is out of line. Another important tool that you can use is to analyze how many people are primary voters, or how many people are registered, how many people are what we call a zero, who never vote. They're registered, but they never vote. And the question is why? Has anyone knocked on their door?
Okay, we're done now.
Just briefly, this is all great technology, but it's all part of the voter vault program. I mean and by doing it independently, you're not sharing it with other candidates. Once you put it in the voter vault, it's available for all the Republicans to use. So I would encourage, I applaud Don for doing that, but we're better off doing that. The technology is there for voter vault. Voter vault also has the ability, if you want to do calling for a candidate, you can do it at home. They can even dial the phone for you, and you just do the voice. I mean, the technology is there. You don't have to recreate it. So you got somebody who wants to do that. But I like people. Some people say they want to organize events. Bring them in and let them organize events.
Okay. You guys like to ask each other any questions here? No. That was the next question on my list. Of course, besides getting people out in the street to do things, the other thing is money. How can we raise more money? Dan, why don't you start with how we can raise more money?
Well, I can tell you what we've been doing to start with. We've had our main fundraiser at the Central Committee level has been a golf outing every year. We bring in about $35,000, costs us about $15,000, we net about $20,000. We've actually talked this year about expanding that. There's actually been other conversations about expanding it in the past. This year there seems to be a lot of motivation for doing that. Having a big luau type party in the summer to raise money. You got to be careful as a party raising money, because you're hitting the same people that the candidates are. So the idea is, well, do we raise the money and give it to the candidates, or let the candidates do it and then we support them and provide the background? So far, the golf outing hasn't necessarily competed. We got the sheriff who does a golf outing. We always schedule ours and coordinate it. So the golf outing is our big fundraiser. We're talking about doing a luau type, big band type of event, which we think would bring in some other money. But it'd be nice to raise $100,000. Our budget right now, we run at about $20,000. I'd like to have that be 30 or 40, and I think we could do it this year.
Don, you got any question? Or
Here's what I would observe. There is a very sizable amount of money raised for Republican purposes in Lake County each year. The lion's share of that is used for overhead by the Lake County Republican Federation. I would estimate on the order of $100,000 a year, give or take. That money goes toward the administration of an office and the employee or employees in that office, and the employee costs, indirect costs, and so forth. Essentially, it's used to raise the money that pays for the office. It's sort of a closed circle. While it does provide 2 dinners each year, or there are 2 fundraising dinners each year that organization conducts, the cost of administering that, of running that office, essentially is aimed at those 2 events.
So what you're saying, Don, is we're raising $100,000 and we're spending $100,000 to raise $100,000?